So here are the horses ahead of the final race of the evening at Kempton. The Mansion Bet, proud to support British Racing Handicap over 2 miles, and we're starting with number 1, Highway 1. Pat Cosgrave is on board for George Baker, and this horse has been largely progressive since stepping up to staying trips on the flat, with a win over course and distance earlier on in the summer. She was ridden positively, which saw her to really good effect last time, I thought. Just denied on the line. She's only been raised £1 higher, and I think can be involved again here. Behind Highway 1 is horse number 12, and that is Blue Beret. Oisin Murphy takes the ride for Simon Dow. She saw out the 2 mile well at Wolverhampton last time, but that was in a race much weaker than this. A stronger run race might help, but the positive jockey booking is always a good sign. Number 4 is in behind her, and that is James Parkwoods for John Egan and Dominic French Davis. This horse was last seen in a novice hurdle at Stratford, where he was well beaten. He's having to go over a staying trip for the first time on the flat today. So another horse who just needs to prove his stamina this evening, and a bit of in and out form on the flat when he has been running. 5 is Eagle 1. This is Neil Callan's mount for Amanda Perrott. This horse has really benefited from trying this distance. He bumped into a well-handicapped store in the Vegas Raider last time, but did travel well throughout the race. He might not have a horse like the Vegas Raider to worry about here tonight, so he has a pretty good chance coming into this with Neil Callan on board. 11 comes behind, and that is Percy's Prince. Rob Hornby on board for Amanda Perrott is a confirmed stayer with a win over course and distance, but that was over 2 years ago now, and he returned to form when second at a double figure price last time. He didn't get the clearest of runs and had to give weight to the winner, so you can mark him up for that performance. He's definitely not out of it here. 14 is Intoxication for Liam Jones and Mark Usher, an unexposed daughter of Havana Gold, who is a half-sister to Acta Valor, who was a useful sort over hurdles for Paul Nicholls. She was staying on somewhat last time at this track to indicate, I thought, that the step up and trot will suit, but just very much unproven. Is the bottom weight, comes in off 8 stone 2, so not much weight to worry about. In behind Intoxication, as we just follow the horses around, I can pick up number 7, and that's Savitar. And Savitar's the mount of Joey Haynes for Lee Carter, another who hasn't tried 2 miles yet, but his runs of late have looked like this is what he needs, with a good staying on performance over 1 mile 3 at this track last time out. So Savitar, who's a 6-year-old now, could be there or thereabouts. Number 10 is Guilty Party. Charlie Bennett is on board for Patrick Chammings, a 4-year-old who's only had a handful of runs, 2 of them being in bumpers. She has her first running handicap company off a mark of 49. As we follow Guilty Party, he's got the visor on. We can pick up what looks like, I think, the number 1 horse. It looks like it from the saddlecloth. And number 1 is Highway 1, who we've had a look at. And I think we've had a look at several of these now. It's very busy in the paddock. Plenty of owners have stayed right until the bitter end, and what has become quite a chilly night at Kempton. And we can see a lot of these horses have got quite light rugs and sheets on just to keep them warm. We're going to pick up the rest of them as they head down to the start, as looks like we've gone through a good few of these. And we will head back to the studio now ahead of our final race of the evening at Kempton Park. So these are the horses heading down to post, and in shot now we can see Eagle One, the mount of Neil Callan, who has done really well at Kempton since coming back over from Hong Kong. He's knows how to get his horses out of the gates quickly, and I've seen him at this track making use of his horses and not being stopped once he's got to the front, and he's an interesting jockey booking under this horse, Eagle One, who was a winner 3 starts ago, went up only a couple of pounds in the handicap for that victory and has just bumped into a couple of horses since, but he could run a big race again. I didn't pick up in the paddock number 6, the Governor, for Jack Mitchell and Tom Clover. Tom Clover was here with a huge bunch of owners from the Rogues Gallery. This is a son of Frankel, who has a pedigree to suggest that this 2 mile that he's stepping up for the first time tonight will suit him. His form ties in with the Vegas Raider, and he was beaten about the same distance by the Vegas Raider as Eagle One was last time, so possibly himself, the Governor and Eagle One meet on slightly similar terms with similar form in the book, but the Governor was a few horses behind the Vegas Raider, but in distance wise it was similar enough. So the Governor is quite an interesting contender here today for the Tom Clover team, mixed trip down from Newmarket. I was also interested to see Hughie Morrison's runner Beggar Man, who switched to Hughie Morrison this summer, and that switch hasn't really brought about much improvement, but he is giving 2 miles a go for the first time today. Just needs to prove that he can stay the trip, but his half-brother Let's Way was a 2 mile hurdle winner, so another one who has the pedigree to suggest that he could do well over this longer distance. But Eagle One is the current market leader, and the Governor is at 7-2, Eagle One at 5-2, and just considering they are so similarly matched on that form, as I suggested, I think that they probably could be slightly closer in the betting than that, and the Governor is the one that I would be keen to side with at the prices. And outside of that, there's not a huge amount form-wise to get too overexcited. There's some very lowly rated horses in this field. Brack off a rating of 45, who was been doing more over jumps than on the flats, and he's a 10-year-old, so probably seen his best days behind him. But Ray Dawson, the winning jockey from the last ride, is on board this horse, and he'll be looking for a quick double. Oisin Murphy came with a big book of rides. He'll hope Blue Beret will help guide him in another winner, and this Daughter of Helmet, she did see out 2 miles really well at Wolverhampton last time, and that was a weaker race than this, so how she'll fare in this race we'll have to see. But the final horses are going into the stalls. That's the Governor as we head up to John Hunt, who will take us through the final race here at Kempton Park this evening for the final time in September.
And the runners are now all set to go. They're off, racing away. This is over very nearly 2 miles. The concluding Mansion Bet, proud to support British Racing Handicap. And away into a good start was Percy's Prince to show up from the Governor, who's also well away towards the inside. And to the outside, fancied runners Eagle One and Highway One are also nicely there. And indeed, Blue Beret is not far away from them at all, in 5th place early on the inside running rail. So a lot of the fancied contenders right to the front here in the early stages. Beggarman's only just in behind them. Briac likewise, and then towards the outside, Guilty Party. They're followed by Intoxication and Savitar. And then there's a break, and a fair old break as well, to the 2 at the back end of the field. Templier being one of them in the 2 shades of blue. Sophie Ralston now aboard that horse. And James Park Woods is another of those back markers. So they come down the straight and move on with the Governor out in front. Down the outside is Highway One, and between the 2 of them is Eagle One. They're followed closely by both Blue Beret and Percy's Prince. Percy's Prince on his outside is Guilty Party in 6th position, followed by Beggarman in 7th. Briac is in 8th place, Intoxication and Savitar, and then the back 2, they continue to be James Park Woods, who races just in advance of Templier, the back marker. Heading away from us then, and the leader In the red and white silks is the Governor. The Governor clearly in front now from Highway 1 as they reach the halfway stage of the contest. Eagle 1, never been far away, neither has Blue Beret, and they're still there, third and fourth, both looking quite happy with their respective positions. Percy's Prince just in behind those. Percy's Prince is then followed by Guilty Party, who just was chased along there to ensure that he didn't get caught out by any change of pace. He's still there on the outside, niggling away gently as they move on with Beggarman next in the field. Beggarman is followed by Briac on the inside. Savitar still held up, likewise James Park Woods, who's at the back end of the field. Templier is now clearly last of all. Intoxication has closed up and sits on the tails of the bunch as they now move on towards the end of the back straight, this for a final time. And Eagle 1 comes through to nose alongside the Governor. These two strongly fancied runners, 1 and 2 as they begin the run back towards home. Highway 1 remains handy, so too Blue Beret. They're racing 3 and 4 with Percy's Prince in 5th. Beggarman next. James Park Woods is on the move down the wide outside. Briac is further back with Intoxication. Guilty Party's dropped backwards, looking well beaten. Savitar's got a lot to do, and Templier's never been sighted with any sort of a chance as they now race down the home straight. 2.5 to run. The Governor over on the far side, joined now by Percy's Prince. Between the two of them, Eagle 1, who needs to step up. Intoxication here. Down the outside is Beggarman, who's finishing off pretty well. Blue Beret's not been able to find a finish. Neither has Highway 1. The leader is Percy's Prince. The danger on the outside is Beggarman, and these two have opened right up. Percy's Prince and Beggarman. Percy's Prince by a nose from Beggarman. Percy's Prince, gamely as you like. Percy's Prince, Beggarman, they were clear of Intoxication, who in turn was well clear of the weakening the Governor.
Well, double on the night for Rob Hornby, and he's really strong in the saddle all the way because Percy's Prince was in front, probably a touch too soon as he was getting challenged all the way to the line by Beggarman, but Percy's Prince proves really game and stays all day, and that's what you needed to be in this race, a confirmed stayer. So many question marks around horses coming into this without that confirmed staying mark in the book. But Percy's Prince was always travelling comfortably and kindly in the hands of Rob Hornby and was just tracking the early pace, which was set kindly by the Governor and Eagle 1, and Rob Hornby elected just to bide his time and wait to get this horse to the front, and when he did, he still had a couple of furlongs left to go, and that allowed the second place horse Beggarman just to come up sides him and try and get to the heels of him, which he did, and Beggarman was staying on really strongly as well, but it wasn't quite enough, and Beggarman, who did really nicely for Hughie Morrison and George Rook. They'll be really pleased to see this horse returning to form. Just denied, but was having to give an awful lot of weight away today to Percy's Prince, who was coming into this off a nice racing weight of 9 stone and a mark of 49. This horse was a course and distance winner, but that was over 2 years ago, so there's been a long time between drinks for this horse, a son of Sir Percy, and the Amanda Perrott yard will be thrilled, and Rob Hornby, who's been picking up some rides for the Perrott team since that big Group 2 success aboard Lavender's Blue at Goodwood. So he'll be delighted to get another win for this yard, and Percy's Prince really game all the way to the line. These stayers are battling it out the best they can, and there was a big distance between the first two home and the third, which looks like it was Intoxication, who was doing a lot of good work late on that far rail under Liam Jones. But the winner at 14 to 1 was Percy's Prince. Did it the hard way, having to battle out in front, but was a winner, giving Rob Hornby, the man in the saddle, a nice double on the night. He bookends the card. Hi.
Percy's Prince at 14 to 1 is the winner